Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's football show here on STV2. The main talking points on tonight's programme. Strachan calls on his Scotland team to play to their strengths to get a result. Lithuania coach Edgaras Jankauskas is confident they can end Scotland's qualification hopes. Scottish clubs get set for some last-minute transfer deals. Yeah, lots to talk about on tonight's show. Alan Ruff is alongside me, Peter Martin. It's Thursday. It's a day earlier than normal for our boot room guest, but after having a short holiday, he's back with us. Hugh MacDonald of the Daily Mail. Delighted to have Hugh with us. Now at that age, Ruffy, where people go on cruises. I mean, honestly, you wouldn't catch us. We're still in Ibiza at foam parties.
Yeah, you're right, but I mean, we'll send them on a wee recce and we'll see how,
and Hugginfield Loch is beautiful this time of year. It really was.
Listen, all our energies, I think, are on Lithuania and Malta with Scotland in mind. Beg your pardon, have a look at the newspapers to see the back pages with Scotland very much at the forefront and, of course, transfer news. Lee Griffiths saying he's not sure he'll start. And also Motherwell with a windfall possibly on the Marvin Johnson transfer to Middlesbrough. They'll get a cut of that. And of course Rangers all set to snap up Declan John as the back page headline. That deal's been completed. And Paris Saint-Germain kid on the brink of joining Celtic. And just a reference there from Griffiths, I'm the goal-getter for Scotland. So, there you have it, just a couple of the headlines there. I think the first one, I'm not sure I'll start for Scotland, is well wide of the mark, Ruffy. Griffiths is a stonewall certainty now.
Yeah, I think so. I think Gordon's identified him as the #1 striker, and I think we all know what he can do, particularly at club level. He can get you a goal, he can make goals as well. So I think he's going to be a big player for us, and let's hope he can score.
Yeah, of course Scotland are in Vilnius now, Hugh, getting ready. They'll have a little sample of the pitch tonight. They've played in artificial surfaces before. It just depends on what level of artificial surface it is. There are 3 or 4 different kind of a 4G and 3G pitches.
Exactly, and another thing as well is, of course, in Vilnius, that's where Lithuania play all the time, so they're very comfortable with it. I'm not a great fan of artificial surfaces, as you know. I always say if artificial surfaces were so good, Barcelona would be playing on one and so would Real Madrid, and they're not. But that's the surface they're playing on. I think the big problem for Scotland tonight is they'll have to tomorrow night, is they'll have to score 2 goals because Lithuania tend to score at home. That's one of their almost traits, that they do score at home, and 2 goals might be a very big ask for Scotland tomorrow.
Well, they do have a coach that we are well acquainted with in his time at Hearts, Edgaras Jankauskas. Certainly endeared himself to the Hearts support. Now, as the main man in charge of Lithuania, he reckons they can cause Scotland problems.
I am confident because I think the preparation is going well, and our players are motivated as well. So we know how tough game is ahead of us, but we know that dedication can turn any dream into reality. Of course, we know this pitch a little bit better than our opponent. But as I mentioned, when you play such a high profile players, they can adapt to any conditions. And they have proven that through years. So I think chances are even.
So he says the chances are even. I mean, realistically, we should be playing against this side with confidence. This is a side that we should be more than capable of beating. Mark McGee said yesterday, Lithuania haven't improved greatly, but Scotland have. Do you buy into that?
No, I don't, and I think that you've got to look back into the Lithuania. The result that will probably kill us in this group is the draw at Hampden. And I need to be convinced of Scotland's improvement. I don't see where Scotland have improved since Lithuania.
Yeah, not even England?
No, I thought England played pretty poorly that day, and we had 2 shots really on target. If Lee Griffiths couldn't take a free kick, I couldn't see where a goal was coming from.
Yeah, is it down to the fact that I'm trying to get a sense of your half glass full or half empty with regards to England? Was it a case that maybe Scotland were able to play a particular game plan, or are you still think it's down to the fact that England weren't up to the mark?
I think it's a bit of both, Peter. I think we played very cleverly against England in that we tried to restrict them in chances, and Gordon's very good at that. You know, setting up a team that can restrict another team in chances. But I don't think we made much at all creatively. I know everybody's head in hands, or we threw away a couple of points because we were on the verge of winning. But really, realistic, can anybody mention anything we did apart from the Griffiths 2 free kicks? I can't. England had a few chances that day. I was disappointed in the performance against England in many ways. I thought the team was set up well, but I thought, I mean, I might be alone in this, but I thought a draw was probably a fair result that day.
Yeah, I mean, Hugh is still to be convinced. You're slightly more optimistic now, Ruffy.
Yeah, I just want us to win. You know, I want everybody to get behind the team for the last 3 games. There's still a chance, but I'm still. I mean, Hugh's put me on a downer again because
that's what I do so well.
It doesn't really take much for you to change your opinion on things, Ruffy. I mean, as far as someone that I would put at the top of the list of having a spine, you're not there. You can switch within 2 seconds.
No, we have to prove that we can break down teams.
You just said yesterday we were going to get 6 points.
No, I'm hoping we get 6 points.
No, yesterday you said I think we're going to get 6 points.
But yeah, we have to prove that we can break down teams, and I think we will. I think tomorrow night it will be the night. But he mentioned the England game. If we go back to another game, it was a late goal with Martin. We couldn't break them down either. So, but I just think in this one, Lithuania are the team who make it hard for you when they just sit in. And they're strong, big guys, and it is hard to break them down. I'm just hoping tomorrow night they'll think they're better than what they are, and they're going to come out and maybe have a go. And if they go out and have a go, gaps will appear, and we'll exploit that, and we'll win the game.
They've had 1 win in the last 7 games. That was against Malta.
Yeah, and as you said, they don't score many goals. They'll think if they score 1 goal, that'll be enough to get at least a draw. That's why I really, and I said this yesterday, we need 2 goals to make this a certainty.
I think we do. I think we need to score 2. And this is a team, you know, that finds it hard to score a lot of goals, which is, by the way, is not an indictment. This team, because it's international football, you know, goal scoring is tough. You know, I think I look at the last Lithuania game, and you go, are we much better than the last Lithuania game? Are we bringing in more people? You know, is there a better quality to choose from? I don't see it.
I think the only way that Lithuania are going to score against us is a set piece, a corner or a free kick, because we know what like we are sometimes when the ball comes into the middle of defence. But I'm just hoping that Gordon picks the right side and we go out there and we show them our intent, because everybody's talking about we need to win 4 games, which is good. It means everybody's positive. We're not going there looking for a draw. We're going to look for a win.
Yeah, OK. Now, listen, I just put together a formation. This is not definitively how it'll end up, but I'm going to throw this as a possible lineup.
Right,
there's one major flaw in it that I think we all agree on.
You picked it.
But it's certainly, that's the first thing. Here's the possible lineup, and I'll give you my thinking behind it. I do buy into the fact that I think he'll play 3 at the back with Russell Martin, possibly sacrificing Whittaker and Forrest drops in there. The point I would like to make here is we don't have a right back. Why call Whittaker in if you're just going to sit him on the bench?
And the other thing about Whittaker, which increases Whittaker's chances of playing, is Gordon Strachan played him, just brought him in from nowhere to play him against Germany and played him at left back. Strachan really fancies Whittaker, likes the way Whittaker takes instructions, likes the way, you know, he follows a game plan. I wouldn't be surprised if Whittaker started. No. I think, you know, would Gordon go 3-5? You know, 2 or 3-5-1-1 probably, but would he go that way? I don't know. But I think Russell Martin will play, and I think Mulgrew will play. But he's got to find. You're right. He's got to find room for Tierney and Robertson.
I mean, Tierney
cannot play.
I mean, Tierney and Robertson are certs. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, why bring in an experienced player like Whittaker and then say Tierney's right back.
I
Tierney
just,
can play that centre half role as well. Honestly, I mean, if you're looking at the Scotland side, when everybody's talking about potentially if he goes, which manager comes in, you know, the same manager has the same problem the next time if we fail miserably in these 2 games.
Exactly.
We don't have centre halves.
Yeah, I just think Whittaker's a plan B. I think he's somebody that, you know, if it's not going right, you could maybe have to sit in, and that's the time to protect what you've got. I would like to think it's you, sir. I would like to think it's a 3-5, a 1-1. You know, the men when Stephen Naismith used to play that just off the striker. I think that's a role Lee Griffiths can play.
Hold on
I would play Martin. I would play Martin up front.
No, not a chance.
Well, I would play Martin up front with Griffiths just floating off him, giving him a bit of space so that he can cause danger. I think we need to go and show this team that we're going to win the game. If we start this, we need 2 sitting guys in front of the back 4, and that's a draw.
Okay, Martin.
No,
Yes or
for
no?
me.
Not for me either. Listen, it's all about opinions, and we're already arguing over who's going to start in this game. It'll all become apparent, but I think it's all about some of the players who can play on the front foot that we are hoping will do the business. Well, we're going to hear from the Scotland camp after this quick break. Quick question to welcome Hugh back, and then more on Scotland. Not a bad goals return from Wayne Rooney. Did any of you two get that?
Well, I said one more than Bobby Charlton.
Yeah.
That was about that. I think that is a good return, mind 253.
Yeah, I can't believe the amount of stick he gets from English supporters. I just don't understand
I'm the same.
it. He's broke all records that have been put in front of him, so he's up there for me.
It's only a nation, Hugh, that manages to absolutely lambast any special number 10 they have.
Another thing as well, is what they do is they set expectations so high that when the players fall short of them, you know, they get lambasted. I mean, I always laughed about the golden generation, you know, and they still talk about the golden generation.
Yeah. Lampard,
Ferdinand, Gerrard and Rooney, and you go, well, golden, what did they win? The answer is 0. But that was not a name that was put on them by themselves. It was a name that was put on them by the media, you know.
Yeah, fellow members of your fraternity.
Yeah. And taken up by fans.
Yeah, absolutely. I wish we had somebody that could score 253 goals, but all our energies, all our goodwill is towards Lee Griffiths. Listen, you know, texts. As far as tweets are concerned, emails, everybody's got an opinion on the starting lineup. You know, eventually, whatever he plumps for, they've got to go and take the game to them. It's almost like you're hoping, Ruffy, that Scotland play a similar style to Celtic at times, which is high pressing, force them into mistakes, and obviously force the quality players we have on them.
Yeah, I cast my mind back to the last campaign when I think we went to Poland. In the first half of the game, we played a possession football the way Celtic do when they go away. And it looked comfortable, you know, it looked comfortable just biding the time, just biding it and then getting a goal and then the other team's under pressure. And I think that's what we'll have to do because they will be sitting in, they'll be just waiting. They'll be waiting on some kind of break. But I think defensively we should be okay. I can't see this team scoring. If they do score, I still think we're good enough to get 2 goals. And I think, again, that might come for free kicks or a corner or something like that because, as we've already discussed in the first half, we struggle to break teams down. You know, we really physically and with technical ability of cutting teams open, we don't seem to do that. So I think for us it might be a set piece as well.
Again, we've been disagreeing all week. I can see Lithuania scoring. That's the problem with it all.
I think they will score as well. They always score in Vilnius, you know. It just seems to be that's what they do. I think they'll score and we'll need 2. And then if we need 2, Griffiths becomes, you know, absolutely central. I think particularly where there's doubts over Snodgrass, you know, Snodgrass has not played much football and normally he's a go-to man for Gordon.
Yeah.
And Snodgrass can chip in a goal. But if Snodgrass doesn't play and it's only Griffiths, you look through the team and say, well, where else are we getting a goal? Maybe one of the centre halves with a header at a corner.
Yeah.
You know, it's not full of goals, that team. Even in midfield, Armstrong maybe, if he plays, can come up with a goal. So I think Griffiths is absolutely central to him. I just hope that Scotland don't do what they did against Georgia, where they played a really neat shape against Georgia, and you know everything was organised in that, but they actually forgot to actually hit the ball on target, and the game was all about scoring goals. And we've come all the time to in this campaign, every game, we'll have to win this, we'll have to win.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not quite in the you know, we're
Last
actually,
chance saloon.
well, last chance saloon with the bouncer having his hands on her collar and his boot applied to her posterior.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how near we are to this. I actually think it's over.
Yeah.
But that's me being, you know, Reverend I am jolly.
Yes.
But I mean, arithmetically, if we don't get in out of it tomorrow night, that's it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I can't kick you into touch with that feeling, because realistically, we have to get 12 points from the final 4 games. I can't see us getting that. I can see us winning the next 2 games, and then hopefully that lifts the confidence. Each win changes your mentality.
Exactly.
Did I think we were going to beat England? No, I didn't. Was it an improved performance? Was there an unbelievable finish to it? Absolutely there was, that changed the whole mood of the camp. Obviously, where do you learn lessons from it all? Here's what the Scotland manager had to say about the lessons learnt from England, or more to do with Lithuania.
I think probably last time we played Lithuania, yeah, and the problems it caused, and the problems we caused ourselves. So you're right, it's probably the Lithuania game, because it's a different game altogether.
Is it a motivating factor, the disappointment of that result, when it can go maybe 20
No, it's a long time ago. We don't do that as football players. I'd be very surprised, I'd be very annoyed if they thought we're going to try a bit extra here because we didn't do so well in the last game here. I think what you're looking for are a group of players that will give you the same every time they step on the pitch.
Well, another motivating factor in this is the players that he's going to ask to step onto the pitch know they're like so many other players before them. You know, players like Barry Ferguson never got to a major championship.
Yeah, and it gets more and more difficult simply because of every repeated failure. I'm not talking about even psychologically with every repeated failure, but the fact that you go down the pots, and it's hugely difficult. I was devastated really by the last qualifying campaign for the Euros, because I felt that offered us our best chance, and I thought we made an absolute pig's ear of it in Georgia, and I've never really recovered from that.
Yeah. I've noticed there's been a kind of a dark cloud that falls around
exactly, just
Georgia.
a wee bit of rain, you know, like the Peanuts cartoon. Aye, absolutely. I mean, that just because I just thought if we'd have got something out of Georgia, everything would have been fine, and the way that momentum grows. I agree with you about, don't worry about winning 4 games in a trot. Scotland's not won 4 competitive games in a trot since, you know, if ever, you know, never mind.
I'm sure we can find
some somewhere, but certainly not in the last 20 odd years. But so I just think tomorrow, do what you've got to do tomorrow. Go to Lithuania, be proactive, be aggressive, have a game plan and win that, and then think about the next game.
Yeah, hold on. He's
I don't think we'll win tomorrow night. No, I think we'll go for a draw. Put me on a downer.
No, but what I have to do, Ruffy, is it's quite simple. I have to keep him away from you so that I can get you back into your positive mode.
No, I'm positive. We're going to win 2-1. You know, I really do think this is it.
Yeah.
You know, I think this is the time when. But we don't want to leave it the last game as we usually do. We're all sitting up in that stand biting our nails for 90 minutes. But let's hope it's a wee bit more positive.
Well, it doesn't help sometimes when the referee gives a foul to Italy when it wasn't a foul. I haven't got over that either, Hugh. I mean, there are games when I can plot back the nightmare scenarios. But as far as our weaknesses, we know what they are, and you can bet your bottom dollar Gordon Strachan knows too.
We're stronger in other positions, some positions, and weaker in others. That's for sure. Sometimes you can be right unfortunate, be playing well, and we're really strong in that position. So that can be, it's unfortunate for some players, especially if you look along, say, 4 or 5 midfield positions. We have about 15 players that could possibly be in this squad, and but I've got to look at it and go, what's the best for the 2 games coming up? What do I need from these 4 or 5 midfield players?
I mean, he's absolutely right. We could pick midfielders that would actually, you know, sneak into other home international sides, but you know, strikers, central defenders, two key areas.
Absolutely, because the big debate has been about Callum McGregor, and people say, would you have Callum McGregor in the squad? I probably would. Would you argue about Gordon Strachan having the squad? Absolutely not. I mean, you know, you've got to say, who's he going to drop to like Callum McGregor? And he's going to drop players that have done a job for him. So I've got no criticism whatsoever about Gordon Strachan's squad. One of the interesting things about the criticism about Gordon as well, and I have been critical of him, it's not about his squads and such, because it's not like the old days. I mean, Alan, you'll remember in the old days where, you know, Andy Gray couldn't get a game and things like that. There was genuine controversies in the old days. Is there a real genuine controversy over somebody that Gordon Strachan's ignoring now? I don't think so. Not a genuine one, you know. There's not an Andy Gray sitting out there. I mean, there was a time where Scotland didn't pick Dennis Law. There's a time where, you know, you're saying this. There's not an absolute stick out there. And you're right, Peter. The 2 big problems are centre half and somebody to you know, even a number 10 to help Griffiths. I think would be, if Gordon had a transfer market and international, he'd punt a couple of his midfielders to sort that out.
Okay, we might as well get the definitive on this from all of us. I think Scotland will edge it by the odd goal, because I think this side is more than capable of taking on Lithuania and forcing the game with them. I think genuinely we can get a win.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I think it'll be 2-1 for Scotland. I think we'll be 2-0 up, and then they'll score with 5 minutes to go, and then we'll be sort of hanging on.
Yeah, okay. I might not stay in now in the last 10 minutes now that you've painted it that way.
It's a very precise. Who scores? What minutes? You got that?
Griffiths 2.
Yeah, nobody from the midfield.
I think we'll get a wee break, and I think we'll get a penalty.
Oh,
this is fantastic.
Who do you think you are, Colin Cloud? What's this?
This was like Derek O'Connor.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Now, what about yourself?
I hope for 2-1. I think that's a hope for it, and a hope for 2-1 and a fear 1 each.
You fear 1 each. Yeah, we all fear 1 each, but give me a definitive. An opinion.
An opinion. I think we'll draw 1 each.
What?
Yep.
Okay. That should be our question going into this break. Were we right to actually take him back so soon after the cruise? If he's put Ruffy on a downer, he's put me on a downer as well. But I've got a sneaky feeling, I hope, that we can get the win, and then obviously on to Malta. We're automatically thinking we're going to beat Malta. Where have we thought about that before? Peru, Iran. Yeah, okay. The less said about that, the better. Here's a question, and after this we're going to talk transfers north and south of the border. I hope Ruffy's prophecy doesn't come true and we're waiting to the last couple of minutes biting our nails. I hope we're comfortable. Do you remember that game? That was another one of those nail biters right at the end. We got an equaliser.
That's what always happens. That's I mean, at this level, it's so tight. You know, unless you're a Spain or a Germany, that you know, even in England who are very good in qualifiers, everything's you're just scrambling for every wee edge.
What was the worst biting nail game? Do you remember? Was it Liechtenstein?
Oh,
was it 8 minutes into injury time?
I was at the US.
Was it Liechtenstein? Was it?
No, I think that was a movie that you'd watched, Ruffy. Was it not Richard Gough that scored?
No, that was in Israel. No, I think he's thinking about Stephen McManus scoring.
Was that not
7 minutes?
7 minutes into injury time. I was actually at the US Open that year, so I can't say what game that was. It was something like It was a kind of Liechtenstein type.
Yeah, I thought,
So
I thought McManus was Lithuania.
Might have been Lithuania.
Yeah.
It might have
Yeah.
been Lithuania.
The
See,
last-
it begins with an L.
Yeah, that's good. There's no point in looking at him. I don't know why. I don't even know why you bothered to look at him.
And it's abroad.
And it was at Hampden, but anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Liechtenstein
Hope
2-1.
I'm right. Please right.
Yeah, our producers just said, Ruffy, Liechtenstein, McManus. There you are. How do you feel about that?
Great. Just knowledge.
Let's switch our attention from international football to domestic scene. Transfers, in and outs, deals being done as we speak, and they'll probably go right up until the last seconds. I was listening to an agent talking today on the radio saying that, you know, he can remember getting a deal done for Andre Arshavin and with 4 seconds to spare. So they take it right down to the wire.
And sometimes beyond.
Yeah, absolutely, depending on if the letter is underneath the door at the right time. But as far as the transfers in Scotland, I mean, Declan John is one that Rangers have obviously seen the need to get a full-back in. He could play centre-back, he could play left-back as well. Hugh, is there a wee bit of pressure now on Lee Wallace?
I would think so, yeah, and I would think that quite properly so. Like any manager, I don't think Kushinya will not want anybody to think he's a certain starter. We know that in some teams people really do think they're certain starters, Ruffy being one of them.
Yeah.
But I think it's good to put pressure on players. I think it's good to put guys who are regular in the team under an extra bit of stress, got to play to their best. And there's no doubting it that the full-back areas for Rangers defensively have been a problem. Now, how much that is due to the way Rangers are set up and how much is due to the actual individuals themselves is a matter of debate.
Yeah.
I think it's a bit of both. I think Wallace is much, much better going forward than he is retreating, but I also think that the way the Rangers set up the fullbacks leaves a lot of space in behind to exploit.
Listen, there's no point in giving a definitive answer on will he, won't he, as far as Jamie Walker, because you know we could go right up into the wire tonight. Rangers might make another bid, get knocked back, and then decide let's tempt them with one last bid, and then Hearts suddenly say let's take the money and run on it, you know.
Yeah, I think if you were asking the Rangers supporters what would they rather have, a full-back or Jamie Walker, it would be Jamie Walker, you know, but again, we don't know if that is another deal that's going to get pushed through. Because I think he's the kind of player that would excite the Rangers supporters, but we'll have to wait and see if that one happens.
Yeah, as far as Hearts are concerned, Craig Levein did mention that he wanted to get a couple of people in there, Ross Callaghan being one from Wraith Rovers, a good young player, and Milinkovic is another French-Serbian winger who's clearly coming in. Now, you could put two and two together and think, is he covering his, his options here if Walker were to walk out the door?
Yeah, I think so, and I think it'd be, I mean, nobody at Hearts would be daft enough to rule out, Walker leaving, because quite frankly, if you get the money for a player that's going to leave anyway, in the short term he's going to leave, why not take the money? And it might be a substantial amount of money, so I think the Hearts will still be thinking about that. The interesting thing about Hearts is, of course, Hearts did an awful lot of business under Cathro, who was then, of course, under Levein. So there's a lot there for Craig to work with. I think Hearts have got a good, strong squad.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look through the spine of the Hearts team, I see no problems with the spine of that team. Absolutely. I think Lafferty for the SPFL is a good centre forward. I think Gonzalez is excellent up front. In midfield, Cowie, Zoom, no problem with either of them.
Yeah.
Berra in defence. The goalkeeper has been a bit iffy, but he's very promising. I think he's going to be a top-class goalkeeper. So Hearts have got a decent squad there.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, Levein, some people are not fans of him because of the Scotland debacle. There are people who personally just don't get on with him, don't see eye to eye with him. I mean, I think he's had his failures, but I think he can succeed with Hearts. I think this is exactly the type of appointment they need because, as you say, he knows the players. He's experienced in Scotland, and he has a particular style, Hugh. From various teams. He likes a big tall forward, so he's got Lafferty. He likes somebody to play off him. He'll have those options. He'll be able to play what I call the Craig Levein way.
Yeah, and he was always these teams were always very physical as well. I think it's a smart move by Hearts. And what the difficulty is they've ripped up their not ripped up, but they've certainly changed beyond all recognition their business model. This isn't their business model, and anybody, I mean, we talked about it at the press conference. Oh, we've just tweaked it. No, you haven't. Your business model is a director of football and a head coach, and then going down. Now you've amalgamated the two posts. That's not the same. So what will happen? Will Craig, stabilise them at one time? They then create the model again? I don't know. I think the reason why Craig took over was that they really needed to get this one right.
And as far as the other runners and riders are concerned, I mean, let's look at Aberdeen. I think they're well equipped now. Unless he surprises us right at the last minute, Ruffy, I think they're well equipped to have a right go.
Yeah, I don't think he's needing any more. He's got enough up front. He's got enough midfield. We all think the defence could be a bit better. That was evident last week with the goals that Thistle scored, and they'll want to improve on that. But no, I think man for man, I would say they're just a wee bit touch better than what they were last year.
Yep, and with regards to Celtic, they've got Roberts in. I still think we'll wait to the 11th hour for the centre half, and Hodgson looks as if that deal will all be done as a loan from Paris Saint-Germain.
Yeah, and again,
Hodgson Edouard, sorry.
Yeah, Hodgson Edouard, who again can play on the flank, so it gives them pretty options up front. Dembele's coming by. It's still rumours, of course, that Dembele might go to the wire. Marseille and others, Tottenham apparently sniffing about. So we'll wait and see the midnight hour tonight. But I think the scuttlebutt is that Brendan Rodgers is now looking for a permanent signing at centre half, a £45 million centre half. He's going to splash a bit of cash in the centre half. Yeah. That's the scuttlebutt. So we'll wait and see.
Yeah, and we were talking about Hearts there, but across the city, Ruffy, if anything, it's knockback number 2 for McGinn. Knockback number 3 might come in. It might just be one of those ones that really tempts them. I mentioned to you, John McGinn, might head down south. He might not, but Hibs could look towards a Liam Henderson, who I think is kicking his heels at Celtic. I just think he's crying out to be playing football. He's so talented to be sitting in the reserves is just not on.
Yeah, I mean, he's been at Hibs before. He knows the setup. I thought that I don't know what kind of money we're talking about for him, but I think the boy needs now a permanent move. He must be actually saying to himself, "I'm so far down the order here. Maybe I should go to a club that really, really wants me, and I can settle in for 2 or 3 years, enjoy my football, be a regular in the team." And then he might kick on for there. He might get that bigger move that he thinks he should get. But I think when Neil he will be signing a new contract. I would think at this moment in time, unless the Henderson deal was on, I think he would want to hang on to McGinn. McGinn can go in a couple of years. So I think he'll be focal to what Neil's plans are for the future.
I'll tell you what is good about a transfer window. When you hear a club like Motherwell all set to bank £750,000 from Marvin Johnson, I mean, he was a tidy player in that left peg for Motherwell in the midfield, gets the move to Oxford, and then that sell-on clause if he just crosses the T's, dots the I's at Middlesbrough.
Yep, and it gives Motherwell a bit of leeway, and maybe we know that Hennigan, Can and Moult might be all sort of envied or looked at tonight. So it gives them a bit of leeway and say no, we don't have to sell. We can maybe sell one of them, but we don't have to sell all 3. So it's a good day for Motherwell. On the Henderson thing, I think he's got to go and play football, and I really rate him as a player as well. And I think Hibs would be a great move for him. Yeah,
Dundee have got a great potential to sign players that are so difficult to pronounce. Echeverria took a bit of getting used to. This one is John Ortinetza, who Neil McCann has brought in, a left back. So he's tweaked it. You were surprised with this signing because he comes from the third division.
I'd love to sit down with some managers and say, right, how did you identify this player? Obviously, agents fire out things to managers, but to pluck somebody from the third division of Spanish football when there must be hundreds of thousands of players out there, I would just like to know how they actually put their finger on this is the one that we want.
Yeah, well, if it's any consolation to you, Ruffy, and Hugh will remember this well, I think more than a few of our fraternity in the journalistic world were going, MSV Duisburg 300,000 Lubomir Moravchik. I mean, honestly.
The dud check,
The dud check.
as he was memorably described on arrival. Larsson, nobody got the banners out for Henrik Larsson either.
Yeah, absolutely. There's always a bargain to be had. There's always somebody that can unearth a golden nugget, a legend, a hero, and let's not rule out Neil McCann for doing that in the future as well. After the break, we're going to talk about the riches of the English Premier League transfer market. Yeah, remember that tournament, Hugh?
Yeah, very well. Remember well, particularly the absolute tonking from Morocco as well.
Yeah.
But these are the days when we were disappointed at getting knocked out in group stages of major tournaments. Oh, happy days.
Yeah, absolutely. I never thought when I was putting together the Panini sticker album in 1974, you know, I just thought we qualified for World Cups all the way through my youth, Hugh.
Well, I was different. I was of the generation where we didn't qualify, so the absolute joy in 1973 when at Hampden, when Joe Jordan dipped his head and nodded the ball home, for that was colossal for everybody of my generation. I'd be about 18 then. So, yep, that was colossal. And then we went on that fantastic run where it became... That's what we did. We qualified for World Cups. We had top-class goalkeepers, the best legends, and that was the way of it. And now, generationally, now there's people in their 20s that have never witnessed us in a major tournament. It's absolutely astonishing.
It is actually. It is astonishing when you think about kids nowadays who just wonder if Scotland could ever get to a major tournament. It will happen. Everything goes in cycles, Ruffy. It's just that we've got a longer cycle than most at the moment. Okay, we were talking about the, not the wealth in the Scottish transfer market, but certainly when you talk about the English Premier League, the riches are unbelievable. The movers and the shakers. This is when I think people actually enjoy it, because even if nothing's happening, it can seem exciting. But this time around, I think it will be frenetic, to say the least, Ruffy, because people have got money to burn and they'll waste it on people that I think are just mediocre.
Yeah, I think the Neymar transfers just made it a wee bit ridiculous now. I think the starting price for most reasonable players is 30-40 million, you know, and then it goes upwards after that. But I think one of the transfers is a bit of fresh air is Oxlade-Chamberlain going to Liverpool. I think that's a sensible move for a sensible person who's going to a club who really want him and really want him to play him in the position that he wants to play in.
Yeah, he signed a 5-year deal, and of course I was going to have a competition question, Ruffy, where you could maybe write down the top 5 games where Oxlade-Chamberlain grabbed it by the scruff of the neck and just won it single-handedly.
No, you're right. You know, even at Arsenal, he was a in and out player, but any time he came on, I liked him. You know, I thought, I think he's got something to offer. I think he's just waiting to be in the right team and playing in the right position.
He's a Klopp player in that he's very, very quick, he's very energetic, and he's very fit. So he'll be able to play Klopp's pressing game. You know, that's why, for example, Benteke had to leave, because he just wouldn't fit the Klopp profile.
Yeah.
So, but he's actually going to a club where, unless Coutinho goes, and that's a big move that might happen later on tonight. And even if Coutinho goes, they're pretty strong in midfield, Liverpool. You know,
do you think they've got a special player, though? I always feel as if you have to have a special player that can do things just that wee bit out of the ordinary. I think if he goes, there's no sprinkling of gold dust about.
I think they might have it up front. I think Salah and Mane might prove this year to be really... I mean, I think Mane is astonishingly good, but I know what you mean. he's more likely to do it at the real business end rather than, you know, the final third little passes.
Yeah.
And
the only reason I
dictate.
say that is because I'm a huge Liverpool fan. Behind every Ian Rush, there's a Kenny Dalglish.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? You need that kind of a just magic, you know.
Yeah, I agree with you, but I still think the way Klopp plays his team, you know, they've started very well. I'll be interested to see if they can maintain it this season. I think their buys have been excellent. They've really bought well. Coutinho's the big debate, you know, how if he leaves, you know, it'll be a huge blow to him, but how much of a blow in terms of winning the league? I mean, I'm actually thinking, having watched Liverpool, I watched both 90 minutes on tape, I was really, really impressed with him, Peter.
Yeah?
I'm really impressed with him. And I know it was against a really disappointing Arsenal side, but I reckon that, you know, I would put them higher than, I was thinking top 4 for them. I've got a wee sniff about them, you know, challenging the 2 Manchester clubs now.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's an interesting one. As far as the others are concerned, I mean, Chelsea could be doing all sorts of deals before we get to the end of the window, you know. But for me, I'd written down for you guys about 5 players that I thought is going to be really interesting. Just looking at the, you know, Sanchez,
Absolutely.
Coutinho, Van Dijk, and of course Costa, and it was intriguing watching. I still think, you know, sooner or later you're going to see a headline. Might not be this window, but Bale back home at some point.
But I said that to you 3 or 4 weeks ago, that I don't think he really thinks he's I don't think accepted is the right word at Real Madrid.
Valued,
yeah, I don't think the supporters, you know, you say value the same as, you know, the other big stars there. And I think looking at his body language, I think coming back to the Premiership, I think he would be better valued, depending where he goes. That is.
I think it'll be next year rather than this one. I think if Mbappe had went to Real Madrid, and then you had, you know, 3 or 4 of them fighting for the, you know, 3 or 4 Galacticos fighting for the 3 places up front, Bale might have went, I might be 4th in line here and gone.
I'm glad you mentioned Mbappe because I thought the line this morning from one television reporter, and he said, you know, Paris Saint-Germain are really putting a lot into falling into line with UEFA's fair play. And I thought, really? Wow.
This is in time.
Yeah, exactly. As they start offloading people. I mean, Mbappe's loan deal just makes a mockery of the whole situation. I mean, it's a farce.
Yeah, it is. You know, that you spoke about it earlier, the money side of it is a farce as well, you know, but these big clubs, you know, seem to have a rule of their own, you know, and they dictate, you know, nobody's going to tell them what they're going to do, they just do what they want.
It's an interesting business story, you know, because what obviously PSG are doing is PSG are trying to make themselves one of the big hitters in Europe. By big hitter, I mean one of the top 4, 5 clubs, a Manchester United, a Barcelona, a Real Madrid, a Bayern Munich. That's what they want to be. And they know that to do that, because they've got no tradition. As I said, I've got bits of cheese in my fridge that are older than PSG.
Yeah.
So they've got no tradition, they've got no history, but they've got money, and they want to position themselves saying, listen, in any discussion about who's a big team in Europe, it's us. And what they've got to do with that is have a great big infrastructure, which they have, great players, and now they'll have to go in and win the Champions League. It's as simple as that. They've got to do much better than the Champions League that they've done, at least a semi-final or a final.
Yeah, and don't forget, next week we're going to give you the chance to win that blue cheese from Hugh's fridge.
It was cheddar, it's blue now.
It's blue now. Yeah, I love that picture you've painted of the deals that are done. We mentioned Oxlade-Chamberlain, Fernando Llorente to Spurs is an interesting one as well. Suddenly they've got somebody to take a wee bit of the pressure off Kane.
Yeah, and I think they have got a sort of a smaller Galactica they're going on there. To me, they need to prove that they're not a team of individuals and wonderful players, that they all can gel together and just step up a wee bit.
Yep.
Just step up that wee bit and prove to everybody that they are going to be a big team that everybody has to look at, and they've not done that for me yet.
An interesting thing about the Laurenti deal as well is if he goes to Spurs, that's another bloody nose for Conte at Chelsea, who wanted him.
Yeah.
And he's not had a happy transfer window.
No, interestingly, they're trying to paint it as all rosy in the camp. But if nothing happens with Costa, I think that will be the biggest farce of the whole situation. I mean, if he doesn't get that move back to Atletico Madrid, how on earth is he actually, fulfilling the terms of his contract, Ruffy?
Yeah, I mean, I think, am I right? And I was reading this morning that even though he goes there, he can't go to January.
Yeah, because
they've got an embargo there.
Yeah.
So he's going to have a right wee holiday to himself,
Yep.
and obviously check his bank balance as he lies there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we were talking yesterday about the value of actually wanting to play. The one thing about this, and I think this is the one area where I think the pressure will intensify up until January, is if anything, I look at Arsenal in sheer bewilderment. I wonder what the game plan is up above. I mean, I'd love to be a fly on the wall when they sit down and talk to Arsene Wenger and say, OK, here's a game plan. These guys are all going out, but you're not going to be able to duck and dive too much.
It's astonishing. I mean, we talked last season about this, and you know how strong I was and Wenger just had to go last season. I just thought it was so much a no-brainer. And then when he stayed on, and then the recruitment policy, not only has the manager lost the dressing room here, the dressing room now is not in London, it's in various parts of Europe.
Yeah.
Everybody's just going. Everybody's just saying, you know what? No. He's sitting there and people are just walking out and saying, do you know what? Even if you keep me here, I'm not going to be playing for you. You saw that in the game at Anfield. Players just not playing for them.
Yep, the changing face of world football. Players with quite a lot of power. Some get their own way, some don't. Those who don't will be sitting unhappily at a club on 150 grand a week. Wouldn't you just love it, Ruffy? Anyway, let's hope that Scotland are going to get the win tomorrow in Vilnius. We are all backing them, even those who have a kind of a negative vibe. I'm going to work on Hugh MacDonald. I'm going to get him to throw the blue cheese out of the fridge and be optimistic about Scotland's chances. Thanks for joining us on tonight's show. From Ruffy, from myself, Peter Martin, and from Hugh MacDonald. Good night.